Game Time with Boomer Esiason. This week's guest is the second fastest major leaguer to reach 100 home runs. Back-to-back home run derby champion, Pete Alonso. Presented by Geico.
Now we're going yard today, folks. My special guest led the major leagues with 53 home runs 2 years ago en route to becoming the National League Rookie of the Year. He is also now the defending two-time home run derby champion. As a lifelong Mets fan, it is a thrill of mine to introduce the polar bear, first baseman Pete Alonso from the Mets. Pete, welcome to Game Time.
Thank you. Appreciate having me on. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. All right, so I have to say, you have been one of the most positive people I think I've ever seen in my life wear a Mets uniform.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's, for me, the positivity, it comes from me being around these guys every single day. I mean, I love every single one of my teammates in there, and to be able to see how they go about their business, how hard they work, and how diligent they go about their day, it's really special.
You know, last year was a wild season, COVID-shortened season, crazy season. This year, it's in some respects, it's been even crazier, especially with what Major League Baseball has done in the middle of the year by taking the spider tack out of the game. Now, interestingly enough, you said at that time when everybody was talking about it, you were saying, look, I want the pitchers to be able to control the baseball. I don't want anybody having a slippery baseball in their hands. So I didn't know how to take that from you. I didn't know whether you were saying it was okay for spider tack to be in the game or you wanted it out of the game, but it's okay for them to use some foreign substance to be able to hold onto the ball and grip it.
Yeah, I think a chemically created substance, there's no place for it. Hitters, we have pine tar, rosin, spray, pretty much anything. And also, as a hitter, I wear batting gloves, and from time to time, I tape my bat. So I have an incredible advantage with grip, because let's say if I was swinging a bat that I didn't have enough grip on, if I let it go and it goes in the stands, that could really hurt somebody. Same thing for the baseball. And for me, it's really important that guys really know where the ball's going. I've been hit a lot this year. I've been hit in the head. Thankfully, I wear the chin guard. But if I wasn't wearing that, I'd be eating out of a straw. So there's certain things where I just think that there's safety. There could be a possible safety issue, especially we get into the summer, the hotter months. And I mean, it's tough to throw. It's tough to throw or hit when you're extremely sweaty and can't grip the ball.
You know, here's one of the reasons why media people like me love you, Pete, because you're honest with your assessment of a lot of things that are going on in baseball. And one of the things that you said earlier in the year, I don't remember if you remember saying this, but you were wondering whether or not baseball was manipulating the balls themselves. So if there were a group of free agents that were going to be hitters coming up, maybe they would deal with the baseballs and not make them quite fly as far. And then if there were pitchers that were coming up and it was a big free agent class of pitchers, maybe they would juice up the baseballs. You still feel that way?
Yeah, I think that there's potential. I mean, granted, like that's just, I mean, for me, I use the ball, I touch and feel the balls every day. And granted, like there is, for the baseballs, there is a bunch of natural products. Like, yeah, it's leather. I mean, it's very inconsistent, and all these baseballs are hand wound, hand spun. Granted, there's going to be inconsistencies, but I feel like this year, the amount of inconsistencies at the beginning of the year it was pretty drastic in each individual ball. But I feel like as the year has kind of gone on, I feel like that the consistency of the balls, because I hit throw with them every single day, and I feel like for me the consistency's been there as the season gone on. But at the beginning of the year, I just don't think that the balls were as consistent as they have been in the past.
You would know about the balls better than I would, that's for sure. We're just getting warmed up with Pete Alonso from the New York Mets. Stay with us as Game Time continues right after this.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Welcome back to Game Time. Pete Alonso says that growing up, I was super spoiled because the Yankee spring training was 10 minutes from my house. The Tampa Bay Rays were 35 minutes away, and there was a huge baseball culture in Tampa. And growing up in Tampa, who did you root for, Pete?
I just appreciated the game of baseball. If I wasn't playing it, I was watching it on TV. And I was really lucky. It's not just having the Rays and the Yankees. I mean, if you look at how many spring training complexes are within 45 minutes, it's just absolutely crazy. You have, you have the Blue Jays, the Phillies, the Tigers, and the Pirates all within a really close proximity. Plus having the Rays. There was just so many avenues for me to watch the game. And also, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was growing up, there was some absolutely gargantuan, iconic figures in the game of baseball. You have guys like Mike Piazza, Mark McGwire, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa. I can just go on and on about how many just iconic players in that time frame really inspired me, not just to play the game of baseball, but to really attack it head on. And there's a lot of idols in that Tampa area. You have Gary Sheffield, Luis Gonzalez, Tino Martinez, just to name a few Tampa guys. Wade Boggs, I know he's older. I was too young to watch him play, but just being in that hotbed of Tampa baseball, it's really a unique town, a unique aspect. And everybody that grows up in Tampa, I feel like at some point picks up a ball and a bat and a glove. And I was just really lucky to be able to have such a great experience growing up in a place where a career could fruition. And it's not just for me, but so many other examples were around me.
Yeah, so don't forget about Tom Brady and Steven Stamkos. You know, they won some championships down there too. Are you a Lightning and a Buccaneer fan as well?
Oh, fire the cannons. Fire the cannons. I used to grow up going to Bucs games, watching the Johnson & Johnson show, seeing Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, and John Lynch. I mean, there's so many guys that and of course, number 40, Mike Allstott. I mean, those early 2000 Bucs teams were really special, especially when Tony Dungy and Gruden, when that group of people were there. It was just really special because I would go with my dad all the time growing up. And it was Ray J has always been really special to me. And I was actually there at the game when they took it home this year. So it was just kind of full circle and just really special for me because I grew up going to games there, and it's really fun.
You know, quickly, we had Mike Piazza on our show recently, and you mentioned him in the iconic figures that were playing the game when you were growing up. Why was he your guy?
So before anything, I was a catcher, and I love to hit. And for me, he's one of the best hitting catchers of all time, or he's the best hitting catcher of all time. So it was really easy for me to kind of have him as one of my iconic favorites. And then same thing with Mark McGwire. I feel like both those guys, there's some pretty similar aspects to my game and my swing. I really looked up to those two guys, especially as a young kid that's just starting to really not just love the game, but really live it.
And despite, being this great player in high school and having all these great statistics, a lot of people didn't think, or there were some doubters, that you weren't going to be very good at Florida. You went there as a third baseman, and then you got moved over to first base at Florida. Now, I used to work with a guy on a radio show who said anybody could play first base. We could stick anybody over there to play first base, but I think you have a little different perspective on playing first base and the difficulties that it was going from third base to first base, and what are those?
Yeah, so third base, college, I moved because there was a need. We had a guy graduate, and for me, I had to dedicate a lot of time and effort because it's not just a different perspective on the ball diamond where the ball's coming off the bat. You have a lot of responsibilities with cutoffs. Then you have plays involving the pitcher. You have to be involved with the catcher, second baseman. I think, and also if someone makes a bad throw, it's on you to be able to back them up and pick it out of the dirt or make or come off the bag and jump and try and make a play to save your guy. out there in the field and try and make a good play to help the team out. So for me, I think that being a first baseman, it's underappreciated. I think that fielding the ground ball, that's the least of your worries. You always have to be thinking about the games, the running game, the guys picking off. There's a little gamesmanship with when guys are on first, trying to mess with their leads, kind of lull them to sleep a little bit if you can kind of talk to them. So I think being a first baseman I don't know why it's underappreciated. I just think that people that say that, I don't think they've ever been in that position before. I don't think they've ever played. So it's not their fault for not understanding.
You know what? I'm not one of those people that underappreciate it. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your honesty. All right, we'll return with Pete Alonso right after these messages.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Pete Alonso claims that, according to his mother, the first word he ever uttered was ball. Pete also recalls that when his preschool teacher asked students what they wanted to be when they grow up, he replied, "I want to be a baseball player and an astronaut." Alonso added, "I failed calculus my freshman year of college, so I'm a baseball player." Yeah, you did fail, but in 2019, look, you took the major leagues by storm. You broke Aaron Judge's record for homers by a rookie with 53. You know, when you were named Rookie of the Year for the New York Mets a couple years back, what was that like when you got the call and the award?
I mean, it was just it was an incredibly proud moment, but I think the really special thing about it is all the hard work that I did and the sacrifices, not just me, but so many members of my family have made. It's like all the stuff in the shadows, and all the hard work over time, it paid off. I mean, all that time and all that effort and all the highs and lows and hard work and sacrifice, that was just a really sweet moment. And every moment past that, every time I step up the stairs and take my position at first base or step in the box, I'm just so grateful and appreciative of people making those sacrifices. And granted, like I had to perform and work hard to get there as well, but there's so many people in my life that have helped me to get where I'm at, and it's just really special.
Do you think it's easy to hit, like, say, 50 dingers every year after a year like that?
No, because to be honest, pitchers kind of pick up on what I'm trying to do or what I'm doing, and the more time I've spent I've spent here in the big leagues, it's been everybody. I feel like that pitchers are trying to adjust constantly. And for me, it's trying to stay within my zone and have that same type of production or have that same type of aura in the box. And for me, I think that consistency is one of the most difficult things in sports, and especially in a game of failure of baseball.
I know 2020 was a rough year, but Tom Seaver had just passed away, and I don't know if you know this. I have a statue of Tom Seaver behind me. He was one of my childhood heroes growing up, and of course his season in 1969 when we won the World Championship and beat the Baltimore Orioles was a memory that will last with me a lifetime. And right after Tom had died last August, you hit a walk-off home run off of the Yankees. What is it like hitting a walk-off home run over against the Yankees?
I mean, it was really special day. I mean, I had a really tough day at the plate, those first 4 at-bats, but that last AB in the extra inning, I don't know, it was kind of crazy. I felt like there was someone with me in the box, and I just felt calm, cool, and relaxed, and I was able to do my job. So it's just I know people weren't able to be there for that day, and for us players, we know how much the franchise meant to everybody, not just people here with the New York Mets, but the game of baseball. And I know that it was a really special moment for me to be able to honor him in the best possible way by getting a victory.
Pete Alonso has a larger-than-life persona that matches his prodigious long ball hitting prowess. "I'm the best power hitter on the planet," he proclaimed after winning his second straight home run derby. The Polar Bear added, "Being able to showcase that and put on a fun display for the fans is truly a dream come true for me." So how does it feel when you hit a home run and put on a show like you did this year at the All-Star game?
Oh, it was so fun, and I didn't matter who I faced. I just felt deep in my heart that I was going to win.
Yeah, well, you won, boy. I'll tell you what. Now, are you looking to three-peat in Los Angeles next July?
Yeah, if they want to have me back, if I get the invite, I'd love to attend.
So what is your philosophy of hitting? Is it as simple as see ball, hit the ball, or is there more strategy that goes into it?
I mean, there's a ton of strategy. I want to be able to understand how each pitcher attacks each hitter. For me specifically, I want to understand how a guy attacks like a similar hitter to me. So I do a lot of video research. I ask a lot of questions to teammates if they've played with them or faced pitchers. So I do the best I can to have my do my homework, so to speak, and to be able to have a great attack plan and get a ball in my damage area.
You know, it's amazing. You do rely on analytics, obviously. I had John Means on, the pitcher from the Orioles, and he said analytics actually work in favor of the pitcher as opposed to the hitter, because the pitcher knows what he's throwing, the hitter is guessing. I had never heard a pitcher actually say that, and it really made sense to me. Does that make sense to you?
It makes complete sense. I mean, for me, I think pitchers are always going to have the advantage till the end of time. That's just the game of baseball. But for me, I think analytics can be, especially with all the numbers and data that we have now. I think that it can be used for the advantage of both sides. But for me, I always have to be ready for a fastball in my zone. So I love the amount of video that's available. I love the amount of numbers, hot maps or heat maps. Certain zones or pitches or counts and percentages. I mean, they got a stat for everything now, which is a good thing. But when you're preparing, but when it comes down to actual gameplay, as soon as I start thinking numbers or stats or analytics, I mean, the ball's in the mitt and it's strike one. So you still got to be locked in, ready to go when you get your pitch.
Good point. All right, we'll be back with Last Licks with the great Pete Alonso right after this.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Welcome back to Game Time, everyone. We're joined by Pete Alonso. And Pete, you're a fun-loving guy. Where did this home run horse come from?
Oh, that came from our hitting coach, Hugh Qualderbaum. So I don't know. I don't know how it came about. It just showed up one day. But that's all our hitting coach. Yeah, that's all his idea.
Okay, what about the attitude coach, Donnie Stevenson? Where did he come from?
Oh, Donnie, he's the man. I think he came from. I don't know what organization he came from, but pretty much his total philosophy in the box is kind of what we talked about. So you can think about numbers, you can think about this when you prepare, but the biggest thing, as soon as you step foot in the box, you got to compete. You got to grit your teeth, and you can't think. You just got to go up there and focus on the job at hand. So it's really he's really awesome because he's got some pretty good things to help you have a tenacious approach in the box.
And by the way, what's this whole thing about ripping the shirt off with the walk-off home runs and all this other stuff, and you guys carousing the way you do in the middle of the diamond? Where did that come from?
I don't know. It just happened. It's just fun, and it's just when you get in that moment, it's just all of us having a fun time, and whoever gets the big one, it's all right. Sorry, your jersey's coming off, and we're doing the Gatorade, we're throwing sunflower seeds, and we're pouring bubble gum, and we're doing the works.
It's awesome. So, hey, listen, by the way, final thing from me. Your mom pitched to you as a kid, and, you know, she would not only throw balls at you, water balloons, fallen grapefruits, oranges from nearby trees, everything. Which of those was the easiest to hit?
Well, I mean, I love the water balloons because it's fun to hit them when they explode. But anytime my dad was on a business trip, and yeah, my mom would throw to me because as a young kid, I've always been a cage rat. I've always been in the cage, and yeah, if my dad wasn't there, if he was out on business, and my mom obviously would be the one driving me to the games, and we would always be kind of one of the first people there. And I'm like, well, why isn't everyone else here? Everyone else should be here. And it's like, well, they probably doing their homework, or they're almost here. I'm like, well, it's getting close. Can I get some swings? And she's like, yeah. Yeah, I would always like my mom or dad. They always had a bucket of balls in the trunk. So yeah, my mom was awesome. She's a huge reason. Or both of my parents are just really special, and I'm happy that they're to have the positive impact that they've had. I'm really fortunate.
You know, I think, Pete, your parents did one hell of a job, man. You are a great representative of baseball, the New York Mets, and most of all, your parents. So thank you so much for joining us today. And for all of you out there watching, I'm Boomer Esiason. I'll see you again real soon right here on Game Time with Olympic swimming icon Katie Ledecky.
What happens if you complete 30% of your passes in football?
I get fired.
I mean, it's crazy. If you only completed 3 out of 10 or 6 for 20 in a game, you're getting an interview pulling your hair out, right?
Yes.
But for baseball, if I go 1 for 3, or if I only succeed 30% of the time, it's a really unique thing.